Hi, and welcome to Third Eye Thinkers. I'm your host, Megan Benanti.
And I'm your host, Michelle Welch, and we are so excited today to have with us a guest that I got to know actually just recently in Portland at the Northwest Turo Symposium. And before that, we had her books and things in the store. And then when I saw her, I was a little bit starstruck. So, she's so wonderful. So I'm going to read her bio to you. It's Madame Pamita is a Turo reader, Rootworker, teacher, author, and a maker of magic, music, and mischief. She is the host of the popular YouTube channel Hoodoo How To with Madame Pamita, the Magic and the Law of Attraction podcast, and has a book, Madame Pamita's Magical Tarot, published by Wiser Books. She is also the proprietress of the Parlor of Wonders in Los Angeles. Thank you for being with us, Pamita. How are you doing?
I'm great because I'm here with you guys. I've been so excited. I've been totally addicted to Third Eye Thinkers, and now I get to be on it is very exciting for me. So
thank you for saying that. Yay!
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're addicted to your books too. In fact, we're about to place a new order because several of our cards are out in different areas, and I always have to go through and see which books are sold out, and yours sell really quickly. So we'll get into that in a second. But
yay! Yeah. Okay, well, will you tell us a little bit about your story and what got you into Turo?
Well, I'm 50. I'm going to be 55 this year, and I first picked up my very first deck at Lori Cabot's shop in Salem, Massachusetts when I was 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
So this is such a great story, I think. When I was 10, my parents and I went back east. We're living in Santa Monica. We go back east to go visit my sister in Boston. And we were back there, and we went to Salem, and my mom took me into this witchy shop and says, pick something as a souvenir. And I picked up a miniature Rider-Waite, those ones that are about yay big.
Yeah.
And I think back and I go, what in tarnation was I thinking at 10 years old? Like I just was so attracted to fortune telling, the mystical things, witchy things. And so I wanted this tarot deck. So when I got home, of course, I looked at the little white booklet and I was like, I don't understand this, but I would play with them like paper dolls. So I would just play with my cards and I would have them talk to one another. And having that experience of just being around the Rider-Waite Smith deck and spending time with them, I think was such a foundational education for then going on to learning the deck when I was in my teens and my 20s, really learning how to be a reader and then being a professional reader later on. And then teaching tarot, and I teach my students that introductory tarot class that I give. I always teach them to start being very playful with the cards. Don't be intimidated by them. Play with them. Make up stories about the pictures that you see in the deck and so on, so that it is, so that they make friends with their deck,
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I love that you used them as like paper dolls, because to me, it's all about the story that you get out of it. And so hearing that, you were like, as a child, just playing with them that way, that's awesome. Really awesome.
Yeah.
So, true story. I want you to know that with your book, people will come into the store, and of course, there's a lot of books that are written about tarot, right? And they'll ask me, which one can I actually get from if I'm a beginner or if I've been reading for a long time? And this, before I met you, I want you to know that your book is the one once I got a hold of it, and I think found it at INATS. And they promoted it to me. The guy, I go to the tables and they tell me, I'm like, which ones do I need to have? And they said, you need to have this one. She's really, really cool. You would really like her. And it's a great book. And so it's so true, though, because Megan and I were talking before the show started that we've read for a long time, but we still can get so many nuggets and of, interesting nuggets out of it. Yet someone who's just picking up a deck can learn to read with your book too. And you give so many, I think that's a really interesting balance to be able to strike with people.
Thank you so much. I mean, Judika Illes, who is an amazing writer and amazing reader, she was my editor on that book. And she, who has been reading for a million years and lecturing and teaching about magic and tarot and everything, she said when she was editing the book, you saw things and pointed out things that I never noticed, and you made connections that I hadn't seen. So even super experienced teachers are finding things in my book. But I think one of the features of my book that I find very helpful. I wrote the book that I wanted there to be out there for my students when I'm teaching them, right? Mm-hmm. And I think one of the helpful things is that you can go read the, few paragraphs about each card and get that real deep story about each card. But there's also those key symbols that you can just go look it up, like look at the key symbols in that card. And so you can be like, what does that red feather on top of the Knight of Wands, hat, his helmet mean? What does that mean? And you can look up those key symbols if you're wanting to get into, just that quick bit of information as you're learning.
Right. Well, so it's interesting because I've not had one person come back, and I do with some other books. You know how books are. They'll come back and they'll go, or decks, they'll be like, yeah, that was a pretty good recommendation, Michelle. Usually I know my customers well enough, but it's just a great book, and I'll tell anybody to get this book. I think everyone from beginner to teacher, it's a great book to have. I wanted to go back quickly to where you were talking about using the cards almost like paper dolls, because I loved your class, our breakout session that we went to. It was, you guys, people were sitting on the floor. There was not one chair left. We were on top of each other. Her class was so crowded, and people were still scooching in, and it was like, I don't know, hailing or raining or something cold outside, and we were like, please, enough, we're full. But people kept cramming into the class. And tell us a little bit about that class, because it was so much fun.
Well, I taught a class at Northwest Tarot Symposium. I've taught it at a couple places. I've taught at Pantheacon. I taught it back east at a store called Catland. I've taught it, various places. But it's how to make a spell packet with your tarot deck. And so it's about thinking about tarot in a different way. So I come from being a teacher of two sort of streams. I teach magic. I teach how to do candle magic. I teach how to do all of those sort of projective things. And I also teach divination, tea leaf reading, tarot reading, of course, crystal scrying, and so on. So I teach those two, which we would think of as very different schools. Even in Harry Potter, we have the divination teacher, and then we have the spells and potion teacher. So because I really am so in deeply involved in these two worlds, it occurred to me, as I think of my spirit guide teachers showing me what I need to go, where I need to go, what I need to learn next, showing me that, you think of the tarot deck as a divination tool, and yes, it is that, but it can also be a projective tool for creating the life that you want. So when we're doing magic, we are shaping reality to our will. We're bending reality to our will, shaping it to our will. So instead of just getting a message from the tarot, you can actually use the tarot to put something out there. Now, once I sort of tapped into this, I started doing research, and I saw that people had already sort of clued into this, that there were people that were saying like, meditate on this card if you want this certain thing, or put this card on your altar. But I also have a background in hoodoo, and hoodoo is very hands-on folk magic. And, I have a lot of folk magic background. I'm not a high magic person. I'm not a ceremonial magic person. I am a kitchen witch, get in there, make something, make a potion, put something together, light a candle. That's my way of working. So I started to download this information about how you could take packets, how you could take the cards and turn them into packets and alter the cards and work with the cards as a magical tool. So I have some samples here that the people on the podcast won't be able to see, but I can describe. I'll just give a really super quick one, and I can describe it, but I can show the people on the video can see it. So here's a super easy quick one that I did. So this is the Three of Swords in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and if you know the Three of Swords, it's a heart with 3 swords stabbed into it. So to turn this into a spell, you can alter that. Nobody wants to invite that pain into their life, that heartbreak. We want to eliminate that heartbreak, move through that grief out from the dark forest into the bright meadow. So in this example, I took that Three of Swords and I took an eraser and I erased the swords, and then I redrew the heart as a whole heart with no swords around it, and wrote the spell words, "My heart is whole," around that card, around that heart in the card. So taking that energy of heartbreak and turning it into strength, healing, and so on. Now you could take this card then, for example, and then you could put it, let's say, carry it with you. If you are going through life, put it in your pocketbook, your purse, or something like that. You could put it under your pillow, put it beneath your mattress, between your mattress and your box springs, all kinds of things that you can do with it once you've created it. You can put it on your altar and remind yourself. So tons of things you can do.
It's interesting because on that card, and for those who can see it, you might, if you'd hold it up again, Pamita.
Sure.
But for those of you who can't, it's almost like where you, from a distance anyway, where she erased out the swords. It almost looks like either a bird taking flight with it, or almost like spirit guides, like little white guides or orbs kind of over the heart. It's kind of cool what it turned it into. Yeah, I like it. I was telling Megan that I did the 9 of Swords in your class, in your workshop, and I erased I black marked, because the background is black, so I blackened out all the swords, and then I put stars all around, because I tend to work myself up into anxiety often. All right. And so it was really powerful for me.
That's awesome.
And I keep that one at my desk at my office so that I don't work myself into anxiety over it. Yeah. So it's a great class. Is that one that you're doing at Soultopia? Is that class one of? Okay. So what classes are you doing at when you come to Soultopia? I know, and can you give us the dates? And we'll remind them again at the end. But I know you and Erica, our operations managers, just scheduled that, and I'm excited. I didn't even know the dates yet. So
it's so exciting. Yes, absolutely. So July 12th, Jim Barker from the Divine Hand Palmistry, he's at thedivinehand.com. He and I are coming out, and on July 12th, we're teaching a class called the Palmistry Tarot Mashup. So this is a class that we did at, you guys are going to love this one. We did this class at PantheaCon. It was an enormous hit. And what it is basically, in a nutshell, is he's a palmist who knows nothing about tarot. I'm a tarot reader who knows very little about palmistry. And we met and we started talking about, and the hands in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And I said, well, do you know, like on the devil card, do you know there's lines in that palm? Can you read that palm? Like I'm testing him, right? And we discovered that this is so crazy, but the hand gestures and the hand positions of every card that has hands in it, those hand gestures have a meaning that supports the meaning of the card and gives even a deeper understanding of that card. So if you are a tarot nerd that loves symbolism, or if you're a palmistry person and want to know about the cards, I think you can also reverse it that way. That class is happening on the 12th of July. That's going to be at 7:30 at the shop in Carrollton. On the Saturday, July 13th, I'm going to be doing in-person readings, and then Jim is going to be teaching Love in Your Hands, which is a palmistry class. He's going to be teaching it that night. I'll be just hanging out and learning,
Totally excited.
which is so great. He's an amazing teacher. I just adore him, and he's an amazing teacher. And then Sunday, July 14th, I'll be doing readings in the morning, 12 to 2. And then at 3:00, I'll be doing the making magic spells with your tarot packets class, the one that we're just talking about, and I'm showing you the things for now. So that's going to be on Sunday the 14th.
Those are going to be
so
packed full
cool.
classes too. I have a feeling that we've people sitting on the floor like there were in
Yeah.
Portland. Yes, no, we've got quite a bit of space. So, but that's exciting.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask about your book. This is called Madame Pamita's Magical Tarot, and I love the cover. I was really surprised to see that was a photograph of you, because it's a really vintage shot. It's very cool.
Yeah, I got that. I had this obsession. I was doing this vaudeville act and doing old time music, and I had this act where I was having old time songs associated with tarot cards, and I'd have audience members. It was like a cabaret act. I'd have audience members come up. They'd pick a card, and then I'd tell a little funny fortune, and then me and the band would sing the song associated with that card. So we didn't know what order we were going to sing, what songs we were going to sing. It was all it was by chance and serendipitous and synchronicities, whoever picked the card, that's the song that we're going to do. So I was obsessed with this old time stuff. And so I actually went and recorded those songs. I found a guy in Long Island, New York, that records on wax cylinder, which is like from the 1800s, late 1800s. He had all old equipment that was original old equipment. We recorded a bunch of songs on wax cylinder. And I found a guy in San Diego who had old vintage tin type equipment. So it was real tin type equipment that you have all these disgusting, totally toxic chemicals that you have to, produce this, plate out of it. It was crazy. I'd watch him do it right after each photo. So I went down to do that with him. This is 10 years ago. I went down to do that with him. And we did some photos of me holding banjos, me holding instruments, and me holding tarot cards, and me doing magical things. So it took all day to make 6 photos, because you have to sit there for 15 seconds while the photo's exposed, and you have this thing that you rest your head on, and that so that you don't move, because if you move, it makes it a little blurry. And then after each plate, he had to go and develop each plate one by one. So we'd take a photo, and then 40 minutes would pass while he did the processing. It was an amazing experience. It was unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
So that's where that photo came from, was from me doing that. So it was a wild and fun adventure. I love doing things.
Yeah,
like that.
That's incredibly
I'm glad
cool.
you asked that question. I had no idea. That is fascinating.
Well,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I really dove into this book, and I was so excited. And as I started to read it, the first thing that struck me is this is what I wish I could say in a book, because it's so friendly and so welcoming. And I really felt like, oh, this is totally the book I'm going to refer to people from now on when they have interest in tarot, or I see in their reading that they might be inclined to go in this direction. And so I was literally texting it off to different people, different clients that I have and stuff today. It really just struck me. And you can go through, it's a nice book because you can read it from, one cover to the back cover, or you can just look up things as you want. But I am super thankful that you wrote this, because I find a lot of books on tarot hard to read, boring, challenging. This just was like, I felt like I was in your living room and you were talking to me, and it was just what I needed.
Thank you so much. That's so great to hear. I mean, that's why I wrote it. I mean, there's a bazillion amazing tarot books out there. And I always think, does the world really need another tarot book? But there was none that really, when I was teaching classes, I was always going the book that I want that to be out there doesn't exist. The closest thing, I have to give a shout out to a book that I was using. There's one called Power Tarot that is a book about spreads, but their descriptions of the cards I found very helpful. But it was a book it had 100 different tarot spreads. So it was kind of intimidating for a new person to go oh my gosh, what am I supposed to memorize all these and all of that, that goes along with spreads. But that book comes very close, and I always encourage people to check that one out too. I've never met the women that wrote it, but I always thought that was a great book, but it was not the book that I wanted. And so, so I wanted there to be this accessible book, the book that made you feel like my role as a teacher. This is my number is 5. I am a Hierophant. I am a teacher. That is who I am.
Yeah,
and,
you are.
And what I love to do is to empower people, to make things accessible, to let them know they can do it. And one of the most gratifying things in my life is when I take a person who knows nothing about tarot, who's like, can I even do this? And then they go through my classes, they go through my course, and they end up then becoming a professional. I've taken people from nothing to professional, where they're professional readers, and to see that empowerment that happens, whether they end up reading for themselves and their friends, or they use the tarot, for a business or whatever. But that sense of empowerment of I can do this is like that. It makes my life worth living. That is what floats my boat.
That's awesome.
Well,
I love hearing
and
that.
it comes through in the book when Megan, when you said that, in a way, I don't know if these were your words, but approachable. That's when I met you. That's you. You're very approachable. Even though I had, heard of you before and I'd seen your book and all these, when I met you, I thought, she's delightful and very approachable, and somebody who will speak and meet somebody where they are, as far as the discussion you're having with them. And it was so genuine. Both you and Chris, by the way, were both so genuine when we met them, just friendly. And that's how the book feels to me. Just very, very approachable at any level. Yeah.
Yeah, Michelle came home and talked about you immediately. So it was very cool.
Yeah.
I was talking about her. I was so excited to be coming out there. This is like, I'm just so excited to come out. I've got tons of people that I call in my spell squad that are out in Dallas, and they're always like, please come see us, please come see us, please come out here.
Awesome.
And so I am.
Yes. And I'm going to come there. So tell us where you are. You're in your backyard of the home you grew up in Santa Monica?
Yeah, this is my childhood home. So this is where I live. So I'm in Santa Monica, and my shop is in Highland Park, which is near downtown. It's my shop is mostly online. I have a little corner. I share a space with a friend who has a shop, a bookstore called Book Show. And then I have a little corner. I call it the magic convenience store, because you can get your candle, grab your oil. If you need to do a spell right now, you got some stuff to do it. But it doesn't have everything that's up on my site. It's not like my full store that I have up on my site. But we have classes there, do workshops there, and I have a reading room that's super magical there, and that's where I do my in-person readings. And that's in Highland Park, which is kind of near Pasadena, between Pasadena and downtown LA. So it's on kind of the other side of town. But yeah, that's what's going on with there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Is Highland Park there? Is that in Dallas? We have a city called Highland Park within the city of Dallas, and it's very wealthy. Is that the same there?
Yeah. No, Highland Park. Highland Park is actually, it's in East LA. It's traditionally a Latino neighborhood. And really one of the great things about it is like the mix, it's like definitely like, you've got your bakery next door that's got the pan dulces and the tamales and all that. And then you've got, an artist who has a gallery next to that, so it's got these, it's a really lively street. Figueroa's, I'm on Figueroa. It's got, it's very hip and happening right now. There's people having all the DJs and this and that, and the music people and artists and everything are kind of moving in there. And it's been interesting to see just in the 5 years I've been there, the transition that's happened in the neighborhood. But luckily a lot of it is like staying with that, the East LA traditional flavor too is staying there, that it's not getting overrun by hipsters.
Everything else. Well, that's true. That's what we have. Our second location, Bishop Arts in Dallas, it's the same thing, and they're wanting to keep the balance. And when you were describing that, it's exactly what it felt like you were describing in Bishop Arts.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what else do you have? Did I read on Instagram or somewhere that you're starting another book? Are you already writing again?
Yes, I just finished my first draft. This is like, Michelle, I'm such a cuckoo bird. I'm starting up. I think I'm starting my own publishing company and going to start doing my own books, because I want to do these small books, and nobody really wants to put out a small book. But I just finished a beginning candle magic, like a candle magic basics book that talks about every question that everybody ever asks me about doing candle magic. I'm doing that. I'm going to hopefully by the time I come out to you, I'll have it done. See, if I do self-publish it, I can get it out like that.
Bring it. Yes.
Awesome. I'm going to do a spell packet book to go along with the class. So you can have that in your shop and whatever, if I have my own publishing company, I can wholesale it to you. It's totally fine. But I want to do a spell packet book. I've got some other books lined up. I want to do a crystal ball book, because I'm so into crystal balls. I want to do that. Tea leaf reading book and magic tea potions. I want to do that. So I've got so many things that I want to teach. And I want to have these little, not a book that's, 600 pages long, but just like a book that's like, 60 to 90 pages that someone could just go and like take with them, look up what they need to look up, and, have that information accessible. So
I think that's a great idea.
I'm just slamming out these things.
That's great. You're like a little witch powerhouse. I love this.
Yes, she is.
I was like, listen to all this marketing and strategic stuff. I mean, they even say like the shorter the book, the more likely it is that people will finish it. So I love that you're doing short books. Yeah, that's powerful.
Here, I'll tell you the secret. Once you learn how to twitch your nose, you can do everything really fast.
So true. So true. I need a little more wiggle in my nose these days.
Yeah,
I think.
I think so too. Is it beautiful there? I keep asking about Santa Monica. I think we have about 4 minutes left, so I was curious how beautiful it is there, because I told my son in San Francisco I'm coming soon. So
it's extra beautiful because we had a winter full of rains. Hallelujah, we are done with our drought. We have our 100%, more than 100% of our water reserves are all back, which we had so many years of drought, which was scary. Yeah. I know you guys in Texas know about that too. When there's a drought, it's really scary and bad. So we've got all our water, and everything is green. Everything.
Yeah,
everything is green. Yeah, oh my gosh,
nice.
It's beautiful. It won't be that way for long, but right now the weather's beautiful. Everything's green. Flowers are blooming. Flowers are like crazy everywhere. It's pretty gorgeous, I have to say. I live in paradise.
When you come to Dallas in July, it will be hot. So be ready.
Oh yeah, it'll be really uncomfortably hot here.
That is my birth month. I'm born on July 2nd, and that's right around the 4th, and all this stuff happens. And then from July to November, it's hot in Texas.
Yeah, it's brutal here.
Did we talk about the fact that I'm July 5th and you're July 2nd?
We did. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
2 Cancers and a Leo right here. Megan's our Leo.
I'll sit on the land for you.
Well, we are very excited to have you here in Dallas, and we wanted to give you an opportunity to say again, I think Matt will probably have it up on for those who are watching on the screen, but why don't you go ahead and give a shout out to your website and your online store and anything else.
Parlor of Wonders, with parlor spelled like we're British, parlor with an L-O-U-R, parlorofwonders.com is my site. So it's Madame Pamita's Parlor of Wonders is the full name of my shop. I sell all kinds of magical supplies. I make my own beeswax magic candles, and I wholesale from Michelle too. So you know, check that out.
Into that.
I also have classes and workshops, and I have a ton, literally a ton of free information on how to do magic, how to do tarot, divination, all kinds of things, videos, how-to guides. If you go under instruction and you look under instruction, there's a ton of free stuff. Another free thing I always like to give away things. We have a community altar on my site. So if you look under services, there's a community altar where you can online enter your petition, and we will print it out and put it on the community altar. We do that once a month. We trade it out every month. So if you need something in your life and you want to do that, I do spell work. I do readings. I do readings online. So even if you're in Dallas or you're far away and you want to have a reading with me, I'm happy to do that. And I also do spell work for clients. So yeah.
Excellent.
That's wonderful. Cool.
Thank you so much. Our time goes by so quickly every time, but I think we're going to wrap it up today. It was so nice talking to you. I can't wait to see you this summer.
Thank you so much for joining us, Pamita.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank you, you guys. I can't wait to see you.
Yes. Yay. So you guys have been listening to Third Eye Thinkers today with Michelle Welch and Megan Benanti and Madam Pamita. If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star review, and please don't forget to subscribe. We need your subscriptions. And we look forward to tuning in with you guys next week. Take care.
Keep third eye thinking.